Hello and welcome to episode 4 of series 2. Today in this video we're going to look at putting something up here. On the last video I put it for suggestions and castle came back as a good one, and so we're going to put a castle up here. Now in the GameGuru assets folders I've found one castle, but it's in Mega Pack 2. Normally I'm not keen to use DLC models because not everyone has access to them, but at some point I suppose I would have had to go into DLC content. So I will say the three things. The first thing is Mega Pack 2 has this castle which I'll be using in this video. There's also this which is from the Game Creator store, which is a castle set for approximately $8, and that's a very nice looking castle. And thirdly, we could actually make our own castle. If there's enough interest, I can show the pipeline from Blender to GameGuru, so allow people to make their own assets and bring them into GameGuru. Obviously that's a very big topic, so I wouldn't be able to go into minute detail. There's already a lot of Blender tutorials out there, but I could cover the basics of modeling, texturing, importing into GameGuru. So if that's a thing that's interesting to people, do let me know and I will try to make it happen. Until then, we're going to use the Mega Pack 2 castles because there's enough here to form the basics of the castle and a little things inside the castle to give some a background to the scene. So we're going to use these for the purposes of building this castle on the hill. Now I'm going to look at the models now one by one and see how I can use them and where I can use them and where best they fit in. So I'm going to start with entrance because everyone needs an entrance, otherwise no one will be able to get in. So I'm going to go over here where it's flat to look at these. I'm going to see how they go together, so I'm not messing with my scene, and so I can get a better idea of how I want to use them when I come to actually build this thing. Now this looks like quite a nice a standard entrance. It looks like it's got a portcullis hole. No, that's an arch, okay. But it looks like it could fit a gate on. And it looks modular, so we can make it however shape and size we need it to be. Banquet hall. I assume this is a building for inside. Yes, that's an inside building for inside the castle. King's apartment. Yep, another building for the inside. I might keep those. Latrine. That's a ye olde toilet. Now, in the olden days, in the towns of castles, latrines are basically holes in the side of the castle where you sat on, did your business, and it kind of fell at the bottom. Yeah. So this would fix to a wall, and for authenticity you'd want a really horrible pile underneath the latrine. So we're going to use that. We'll use that. What else have we got? Portcullis. Okay. Now we're getting somewhere. Portcullis is a metal gate or metal barrier that protects the gate of the castle. Apologies if you already know this. Some people may not. Typically it would go here. So we'll use this as the front of the castle because it makes a very nice entryway, and we'll use this to go behind it for the actual entrance to the main castle and to stick the walls onto. Yes, very nice. Excellent. These I suppose were where archers could go to protect the castle from villainous invaders. So what else have we got? Stable. I suppose that's an interior building. Yes, it is. Very nice. Support. Okay. that would probably support something on top of the castle, something like that. So maybe it would support some sort of balcony or walkway like that. Yeah, okay. Tower. Well, quite obviously a tower. Tower 2. Now, what's the difference between these two? Just a different texture. Okay, that's a bit of variance. We have Tower 3, which is a smaller tower. This might be a standalone tower, like in the centre of the castle. And we have, when this is moved, Tower 4. Tower 4 is another variation of the large tower with what looks like Tower 3 stuck on top of it. So we've got some good choices here. Tone wall, Tone wall 2, Tone wall 3, Tone wall entrance. That suggests to me that is a different type of wall or an inner wall. So as you can see, this entrance is smaller than that one, and I suppose these walls will be smaller. Yeah, so these walls would be a separate side of the castle, or maybe an inner wall within the larger structure. And walls 1, 2 and 3 are the walls for this entrance. So wall battlement, yep, these go here along the edge to act as a sort of rampart, place for archers to shoot from and then hide behind. So if we get rid of these for now, get rid of that. Is there anything else? Oh, well, that's pretty self-explanatory. So just a well for inside the castle. So we've got enough here to make a start on some sort of cliff-top castle. So, with the level as saved, so we're not going to break anything. What I will do now is I'll save an iteration. So if I accidentally save when I've just broken something, I've not lost this nice level that we've made, which is nice. So save as. .2 or -2, not .2, -2. Okay, now if we start with the entrance, then work on the slope toward the entrance, and then flesh out the castle, that should give us a good workflow whilst being able to mould the landscape to suit the needs of the construct, because judging by the size of those pieces, this little plateau won't be big enough. I'm going to have this elongated section as the way in. So if I take the ramp tool, increase my cursor size, and just draw this down to about there, I want you to have to walk up and around towards the castle. If I do this to the ramp, it should create the basics of a flowing, kind of a curved ramp up towards the gate to the castle. If I go to my entities and take the portcullis and rotate it around to face the right direction, holding shift to smooth the rotation, place it down in roughly the right position, and I can rotate with the widget tool to get a finer orientation or direction. Now as you can see, just the entrance alone takes up most of the plateau I'd reserved for the castle, so it will have to be raised further into the mountains. Another issue I've just seen is once the player is up here, they can quite happily merrily jump across the mountains and escape. Now, as mentioned in the last video, it's not been play-proofed yet, but I will have to keep that in mind as I'm designing the castle, because what I don't want the player to be able to do is scale to the top and then just leap over the mountains. We'll have to put barriers against the player's exploration. Allow them to explore without allowing them to get stuck in deep holes in the floor. So I'm just going to take the blend tool now, and I'm just going to smooth this out a little bit. Not too much, because I'm going to do all the tweaking later. Just enough to give me an idea of this is the way up here and into there, like that. Now, a path to a castle wouldn't be green. It would be travelled and worn. So we're going to have more of a rocky or stone or worn sort of texture on the floor. It certainly wouldn't be grass. If enough people walk on the grass, it's rubbed away. So I'll take this stone texture, which I use normally at the bottom of lakes, and I will find this interior castle. I'll just drag it over here. Again, this is a bit rough. I'm not looking for perfection. I'm just looking for the general idea. So that will come down here and come along here to the water's edge, like that. You know what I think might be nice is some sort of pier or a jetty here where people might fish for the castle. And this road may stretch up through the mountains if I wanted to expand the game world, because that's something I do like about this sort of development. When you have a loose plan but nothing too rigidly planned out, you have the freedom and flexibility to do things that come to you at the time. You don't have to rigidly follow a plan. You can just create and see what happens. And some of the best ideas come from that sort of loose inspiration. Okay, I'm just going to fill this out a bit because I don't want grass around the base of the tower. And there's one thing I've learned is contrast sticks out a lot. You can have grass up against a building, but typically it's never right up against the building. And this isn't the be all and end all of the building, but I'm just doing this to give myself a better idea of how it's going to look, and that would expand out into the castle proper. It's a kind of a rough stone floor. In fact, that's a pretty decent floor, because I've noticed in the castle pieces there aren't any floor tiles, so we'll have to use terrain floor, or create a new entity floor if you wanted it super flat. But for now, this will do. So we have the path winding up to the castle gate that can go inside the castle into the castle proper. Now this is floating, and we don't want floating castles, at least not in this video. So we will take the level brush, just click on a nice flat piece to find the level, and then take stored level mode. Now no matter what I do now, I will draw to the level of the castle. So don't have to worry about mashing up my terrain too much, or having the castle suddenly run out of floor. I can just draw to bring the floor to the castle instead of bringing the castle to the floor. I also don't want too much around here. I don't want the play to scuttle around, because this is right up in the mountains now, so I'll have to put some barriers here at some point, maybe some large rocks. So I've made quite a harsh drops here, so I'll have to smooth that out shortly. But it's pointless smoothing that out now until I've built the castle in its entirety. So if I go to top down view, I will take my stored level brush, increase my cursor size, and just give myself a little bit more room to work. I don't want it to be a huge castle, but I want it to at least have 4 walls, 4 towers, and a well. So I'll take my entrance, and I'm going to come down a bit to, unless, could I put the walls directly onto that? Let's have a look. Wall 1. Ah, different shapes. Okay. Wall 2. I suppose wall 3 would be all flat. Yeah. Okay. So wall 1 has a nodule on the left. Wall 2 has a nodule on the right. Wall 3 is just a space filler. Well, let's see if we can't do it like this. So if we rotate this a bit, it comes to a really good level. Position, just drop it down slightly below the battlement. And then suck it up into the wall. Actually, I think this could work. Okay, let's try it like this. So we rotate a bit more that way. Move it a bit further up. Make sure that there's no edges sticking out. Yep. So I'm going to go top down for this, just to make things a little easier. And take wall 2. Okay, that was wall 2. Take wall 1 and do the same on this side. Remembering to get it at the same level, that's important. So because I want these inner walls to be at the same level, this is what I'm going to do. If I take wall 1, wall 2, and wall 3, grab them all, so they're all on the same level, bring them down together, make sure they're at the level I want them to be, bring them up about there, bring them back over here, and I will now use these pieces as my my template pieces, because I can extract and it will always remain at the same level. And when I want to use one, I hold down shift, put it back, and use the piece I've just picked up. It didn't look like it was at the same level then, by the way, because of the juttering terrain, but it actually was. It was just an optical illusion. So we'll put that there. I'm going to rough this one out now. Go to the top down, take this one, extract, place it back, holding down shift to a smooth rotate, place that down. And I need some sort of tower. I'll use tower 3 because that was a nice rounded tower. Now that's much too big for this little thing I'm doing here, so I'm going to sink that into the floor as well. I mean, I'm losing the base, but it shouldn't matter too much because I'm going to cover the edges, the bottom edges, with foliage and rocks and shrubs, you know, hiding the line, as I like to call it. It's a little too big. I'm going to just make that a tad smaller, just a tad smaller. Yeah, that would go there. Now, just like the walls, I'm going to take that over here, extract one, put it back. I'm going to use it like this, making sure that any windows don't like be half sticking out the wall. That wouldn't look nice at all. So G to top down, and continuing to build the castle in the top down view, which I've just left. G, let's place that down there and take this wall, put a copy back, put that there, take this. In fact, I'm getting the measure of this now, so if I put one there, maybe one there, maybe one there, and one there, just move these in the middle. Extract that, pop it here, like so. Then yes, I could have at that point rotated in the direction, but I find it easy just to go around and try again. Extract that one, rotate it around, so move that over there. I think I'll end up using that one. Take this, place it there, take that, place it here. I think I've just covered a window, so I'm going to go back and check that in a minute. and take that and put another one there. This is a very higgledy-piggledy hodgepodge castle. Just so you know, much like the other video, you could spend hours tweaking little details. All I'm doing right now is I'm just like fleshing out details. I can always go back in and change it later. But for a quick rough castle, that's pretty nice. I like that. So you down here, you got a nice shaped castle. It's an unusual shape, so it's like it's not regular. Come up here through the portcullis into the courtyard. What I would suggest is to make sure that the windows, at least, aren't being obscured, where possible. Spin it around like that. That window's outside now. There it is. Good. Now, top down, I get my terrain paint tool, and I will carry on this texture all throughout the castle I've just made. In fact, all over the mountains here. This is a rugged construction. There is grass obviously in the mountains, but the castle itself needs to be on stone. We don't build castles on grass. And if we do, it doesn't stay grass very long. Now, the stored level mode should still retain the stored level, so I'm going to bring that edge up a bit on the back area like that, and then paint the stoneworks like so. Now, to create a nice bit of a variance here, I'm going to slightly reduce the size of this, pick a mid-tone, and then just attack the more expansive pieces of rock outside the castle to create a blended edge to the terrain, so it works its way into the terrain a little bit smoother. That wall there is red because it's the last thing I selected before I went into terrain paint mode, so don't worry about that. If I go back into entity mode now, it'll go back to normal. It's just an editor feature. So yeah, a bit more there. Now just do little clicks, just one click, one click, one click. Don't click and drag, otherwise you'll draw the entire the texture, and that wouldn't be right then either. You just want to nibble away at this rock so it gives the castle a base, but it doesn't overpower the landscape. So you just want to nibble away at it. Whoops. Like that. Now I'm going to have to smooth that because it's just causing problems. So we get the smooth tool from the top, and try not to smooth the ground the castle is stood on, because if you try to smooth the ground the castle is stood on, you would upset the level that we work to preserve by placing all the things down and then drawing with them. For example, if I raise the terrain here or smoothed, it would raise this tower, but it wouldn't raise this wall because it's modular. So try to avoid, if you can, editing the terrain underneath a placed entity like this where possible. Not so bad with this because it's all one thing and it's its own level, but definitely be careful around modular pieces like that. I'm going to have to give this a bit more terrain to work with. It's not enough to blend, so I'm just going to do that and then blend through. There we go, that's a bit better. The reason being I didn't have enough floor to blend properly, so I had to give it a bit more to work with. Now, can you see I've made a hole in the floor under the base? I'm going to populate that with some sort of obstructive entity to stop the play from sneaking around the side of the castle. So I'm not too concerned with it. What's more important here is that I'm aware of it, so I can deal with it later. The problems arise when things like this happen, and it isn't noticed, and so it ends up into the final build. So now I've placed the walls down, I can smooth this out a bit more. if I increase the receptacle size, taking care not to eat away at the walls of the castle, I can bring this to a nicer gradient, get rid of the texture stretch, and have a nice raised plateau. It shouldn't interfere with my water too much, but if it does, I can always go back to the water later and mess with that. Now, have I done the same thing here? No, but there is very sharp edges, so I'm not finished. I will end up doing that around here as well, I already know. But since I'll be blocking the player's access with entities, I'm not overly concerned. That should be okay. I'm not fond of huge dips like this, but there's ways and means to sort it out. As long as the player can't scale it to get where they shouldn't be, it should be fine. So just keep checking. Use as many angles as you can, and as many angles as you like, and take as much time as you need to make it look nice. As I said in previous videos, you know you've done a good job but nobody notices it. It's only when something is starkly wrong and everyone will notice and point it out, but a perfectly done landscape won't be noticed by most people because they're too busy playing the game. So that's a win. So that's the landscape smoothed, the castle built, sort of. I've not player-proofed the mountains yet. I'm going to put something in the castle now. I'm going to populate it a little bit. If I go to my entities folder and I want to put in that nice building I found, the stable. So this is where the horses will live. Now I'm going to place it down here, and I'm going to look to see if I can place it as close to the wall as possible without intersecting, or if I can intersect and make it look right, I will, because a lot of buildings were built into castles, or at least built very up against the walls, so it was almost part of the wall itself. So you want to get as little space behind as possible. So go down to the top one, just move it slightly. I don't mind cutting a roof a bit off at the back, because that should never be seen, as long as it looks nice from the front, which it does. So a player will be here. There's a stable tucked into the corner, which is very nice. I think we'll have a well here too, and that will be where the people draw the water from. There we go. Very nice. And there's a lot of empty space here. And so there's too much empty space here, so we will use a few of these other things. King's apartment, maybe. That was nice and big, and it fits quite well actually in this corner. So we'll just take it, move it as close to the wall as possible, without it actually intersecting, this building won't take it as well. So I want it right up against just maybe I can actually fit it in the nook. We'll just rotate it slightly, and then press G so I can get a better handle on it. Then drag it over to the wall. Because this is the back, doesn't matter so much if it intersects slightly. The front can't intersect because it'll be obvious. But the back should be okay. Make sure the player can't get in at the back, and that should be alright. Where's the door? I think that's the door. That's an odd place for a door. There must be something else going on here. I think the door's on the other side. Okay, bring it back out and let's have a look around here. No. Okay, well, the king's apartment is a little bit odd, so I'm not going to use that one. I'm going to use the banquet hall instead. I like a door you can get to. I suspect that one should have been should be complemented by a platform, so you can gain access to it, or sunk into the floor slightly. But I've got no raised platforms here, so we'll just have the banquet hall, and I'll place that where the king's hall was. Maybe in slightly. These towers aren't internals, they're just like that. So you come over here, you can't get past. Come over here, there's a nuke, but you can't get past, and you can get in. Okay, so it can't intersect the towers. Okay, top down. I have to do it the old-fashioned way. So bring it out here. I'm going to make it parallel to that wall as much as possible anyway. Bring it flush as much as possible. So you come in, you can go into the door, and I suppose now you can also go around the back, because it doesn't detract from anything. In fact, that might be a good plot element, because around the back of the banquet hall you might find some shaded dealer in black market weapons, or some gambling, ring toss, whatever they have in medieval times. Right then, let's have a look at this top down. We've got a nice sized courtyard, got a stable, have a well, have a banquet hall, stroke inn, stroke tavern. Is there anything else I can put in? Battlement, no, we will. Latrine. Let's put a latrine on for good measure. We'll have the latrine here. So we'll just rotate it slightly. Flush to the wall. Easy to do from top down view. Rotate it around until it's roughly parallel. Then positionally bring it out. And then put it back in again. Making sure that the bottom's clear. So that's where the nasty stuff comes from. So there's latrine, and technically it would fall into the water source, which is about right. I might make that into a stream later, because I'm going to put a pier here. Maybe we can turn this into a stream, so little boats can come up it, but that would go beyond the mountainous edges of the level, but it would be interesting. But anyway, I digress. So now we have a castle on a hill, gradiented slopes, so the player would come around here. I've left this in because I kind of like this little two-level cliff type effect. I might put some foliage here. So you'd come up the hill, up the path, to the top of the hill, and you could enter the castle, into the courtyard. You've got a banquet hall, you've got a stable, you've got a well, plenty of space. So I'm thinking market stalls or traders and things like that. Because I've used Model Pack 2, I'm going to let myself use other things from Model Pack 2 in this level. So, for example, there's some nice things in the Catacombs folder from Waltz. It's not the Catacombs folder I'm looking for, it's the Cave folder. No, it's not. It's the Cave Pack folder, yes. So there's like some tools which would suit a medieval setting, like pickaxes, hatchets, shovels, wall torches, wall sconces. This was originally a pack from FPS creator days, but it does have several relevant models which would work well in a medieval setting. The very nice winged demon is in this pack, so that make a nice enemy for this level if you wanted it to be that kind of a game. Also, the church pack, also an old pack from the FPS creator days, has lots of hangings like tapestries, pictures, portraits, barrels, books, seats. You could use these to make the castle look a little bit more personable, more comfortable, with decorations and things. The dungeon, that looks like a modular pack, so you may have a level where you enter the castle and then you start another level where you're into a dungeon. Fixtures, Again, wall hangings. Looks like pillared separators, so you can make a dungeon with lots of these packs. So chains, grates, so very nice. Furniture, chairs, beds, tables, tablecloths. Actually, we have a banqueting hall, so you get table 3. Actually, we go to the banquet hall and place that down, and then tablecloth 3 would fit over the top, and it's a very nice medieval table. Maybe a few chairs. So what else we got here? Scenery. Oh, perfect. Axe holders, torch brackets, fire pits, chandeliers, statue angelic pose, statue atlas pose, statue lotus pose. So in their statuary, more pictures, so window decals, Egyptian hangings. So there's lots here to make this castle look pretty nice. If we wanted to go that far, which we might do, it depends if people want to see more work done on the castle. What I would probably be doing next time is working more on the road leading to a place, and then working out what will happen in this game, because as I mentioned in the previous video, I want to do several zonings to make it more of an interesting kind of game. So you want to go from the castle to the secret valley, which even now I have no idea where it is. Maybe follow the road to an outpost somewhere, trading with tents and things. So I'm not sure yet. I'm open to ideas. If you leave things in the comment section, maybe we'll do that instead. Let's make it into an interactive experience. What shall be done next? A road to somewhere, a small fishing outpost, a pier, a small boat. Ideas. Just throw them at me. I'll see what I can do. Until then, of course, I shall leave this with you, and I shall see you next time. Thanks for watching.